Thank you for joining me at my Reinvent 10 vlog. In this episode, I will be detailing for you how to fill out my budget mashup forms that you can download for free at reinvent10.com in the financial and budgeting section. In 2003, I took Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University course, and I recently stumbled upon Scott Pape's The Barefoot Investor. Many of the concepts here are identical, but there was enough new information to revamp my current system of budgeting and give it that Aussie vibe. You can download your own copy of my free PDF sheets in the finance and budgeting section of my website at reinvent10.com. So let me get started explaining my mashup version of Financial Peace University course and the Barefoot Investor. Mile marker number 1 on the right hand side of the form. The first mile marker is to set up an account, or if you're an Aussie, set up your 3 buckets. The first account is where you will get your automatic deposit from your employer. It is where all of your manual payments will come from, either because their amounts cannot be precisely predicted or because there is no way to set up automatic bank draft from your autopilot. It will go here. The second account listed on your journal side comes from the Barefoot Investor's autopilot account. These payments can be set up to auto draft on the same day of each month, and their amounts can be determined at least 14 days in advance. The final account is a general savings account, which can be nicknamed at your bank as Mojo, but will have different purposes throughout this plan. Once you set up the accounts, put a check mark in the box and the date beside it. The next thing I want to draw your attention to is the pay period. It begins with your payday and ends with the last day prior to the next payday. This will become very significant in the autopilot section of the journal. On the journal, notice the DOM column, which stands for day of the month. You will need the autopilot section in the day of the month order for you to keep track of what drafts during each budget period. The fire extinguisher, courtesy of Scott Pape's Barefoot Investor, is what you point at everything just to reach the next mile marker. So, to get your savings to $1,500, you may need to take on a second job. You may need to start a side gig, sell a guitar, have a yard sale, or set up a GoFundMe page. Maybe. Just so you can get there quicker. Use your imagination, but keep it legal. For our second mile marker, we point our fire extinguisher at the emergency fund. Now look at the bottom of the page. There's a little section for you to record the side gigs, how many attempts you've made. Keep track of it, because each time you make an attempt at a side gig, it'll just encourage you more. Just a quick note, you can also follow me on Pinterest, where you will find some information on saving money and living on a budget. Look for my board that says budgeting and financing, or financing and budgeting. Mile marker number 2 is building your Mojo account according to Scott Pape, or according to Dave Ramsey, it's where you build up your emergency fund. You set the dollar amount of your choosing, but choose wisely, because once you've started your debt snowball, if you haven't put enough in the savings account for unexpected emergencies like tire replacement, tow truck, bail, etc., you will have to put your debt snowball on hold to build the emergency fund back up, which is forgivable, but it can be a little bit disheartening when you realize if you had only set your baseline a little higher, you could have stayed on track during the entire debt snowball. So for me, that savings threshold is $1,500, but you can go to $2,000 if you have children or a spouse with champagne taste on a beer budget. Let's fill out the autopilot section of the journal. Start with the payee and then include the day of the month that it drafts. Remember to keep these in date order. List all of your drafts, even if they don't draft during this budget period. Fill out the dollar amount only for those that fall during this pay period. Under this column, there's a dark purple line of boxes where you put the total that is auto drafting this period. That is how much you will transfer from your daily expense account to your autopilot account. Initially, my math was wrong on the initial screens. I've since updated this calculation in the sample. When you fill out these forms, please have a calculator handy to avoid any insufficient fund charges to your checking account. So to recap, today we set up your 3 accounts and we are on our way to building up your emergency fund. Now you know what it means to point your fire extinguisher at your mile marker. Next episode, we will transition from fully funding the Mojo to starting your autopilot peace of mind account. You can get your own copy of my free PDF sheets in the finance and budgeting section at reinvent10.com. Please hit the like button if you like the content you saw today.